Here, take that booster when you go by.
Shut your ass up.
Damn, okay. Helper? What fucking helper? Fuck that shit.
Jesus Christ.
What'd you do? Hit that man for 600 million? Like, this shit, dude.
Bruh, he pulled a Jaren in Dragon Ball Z, just fucking blinked at this nigga.
God damn, okay.
Just tested it out. I don't know why I didn't do it before, but with your settings, there's a
gotta go.
I'm going for the beacon. No, it's literally nothing normal. Like, I guarantee you haven't found the person's name.
What's up, you guys? Gourmet J here, bringing you a brand new build video, and this here is your guide to 6-piece classified Strikers battle gear. I'm going to cover 4 different builds: 9K, 6K, an actual hybrid build, and 9,000 firearms. Yeah, so I'm using the house with Vicious and Deadly, number 1 because you can't unlock responsive. So since I'm so tanky and I'm basically trying to do as much burst damage as possible, I don't have as many firearms as I'd like. Vicious and Deadly is a great combo to start off with. First of all, you're starting off with a lot of crit, so my initial crit chance with this, with Vicious Active, is 50%, and then I have the Deadly on it as well, so I have a lot of crit damage. On my M4, I choose to use the M4 on this because, well, I'm not choosing, I don't have an LVOA with the same rules. I wish I did, but this is working out for me right now. On my M4 is Deadly, Unforgiving, and Responsive. I wish I had an LVOA. Also, the Bullfrog is really good for it. If you're gonna run that, I would do Deadly and Unforgiving, but the Bullfrog is really good for the for a 6-piece classified striker. On my chest piece, Exotic Damage Resilience to counter those nades, all the nades, the fire, the shock, classified pred, if anything actually counters that. And I have ammo capacity on here. The rules, not the rules, the mods that I'm using, I don't have it. I wish I did. I would be doing stamina with crit chance, but I'm improvising with the skill haste. But I'd rather have 2 stamina mods with crit chance. On my mask, I have exotic damage resilience, roll for stam. I have burn resistance on here, and I have stamina with exotic damage resilience. Actually, forgive me, on my chest piece I'd rather have all exotic damage resilience on here, but I don't have any more mods that I can change and put them on here. This is the build that I use when I'm fighting multiple predator mark users in a server. This build is really big against that. As long as you can stack up on that exotic damage resilience, you know, the better chance you have of fighting against it. I have it rolled on my chest piece, on my mask, on my knee pads. I have it rolled on here as well, with stamina. And as far as the mods, I have stamina with exotic damage resilience and a first aid self heal. On my holster, I have crit chance on here, and then I have actually I should have first aid self heal on here instead of support station healing speed. I was actually testing that out. On my gloves, I'm running with crit damage, SMG damage, and crit chance. These are all the way maxed out. And then on my backpack, I actually have crit damage, rolled for stamina, ammo capacity, and then I have first aid self heals with stamina, exotic damage resilience. So a lot of people are conflicted as to whether they should run crit damage on their gear or not, on their knee pads and on their bag. Personally, for me, I like the extra crit damage because I can see a bit of difference as far as the damage, but understand that the crit damage on your backpack does not multiply. It's not multiplicative, it's just additive. So it's not as much damage as you would get when you're multiplying with other pieces on your gear. If you would like to be more tanky, I would definitely go for health on your bag. So that's that's with that. Going into my 6K, which is my Hulk build this year. I'm still running with the same house, and I'm running with the LVOA. It has responsive, deadly, and unforgiving. On the actual gear, I'm running the same chest piece, but I'm actually running both skill haste mods because I do not have I don't have stamina with crit chance, the crit chance mods, which I wish I did. I'm still trying to craft and find them, but for this build I'm definitely stacking in it. For this, it's mostly a crit chance build. It's roll for firearms for my mask, and then I have on here I have firearms with crit chance. On my knee pads, it's roll for health for stamina. And as far as the mod, stamina with crit chance, and then I actually have pulse with crit damage. And then on my my holster, I was roll for crit chance, and then it's pulse crit hit chance on there. On my gloves, it's the same SMG damage. I like to alternate. I can either do SMG or AR damage. I mostly roll with the AR damage. I really like ARs. I like them more than SMGs in this game. And then as far as this, I should actually have something on here, but I don't have any more. That's why I didn't have it on there. I was looking for it. Okay, so for my backpack, it's roll for health, roll for firearms, and I don't have ammo capacity, sadly, but the disrupt resistance helps out because that's on the real counter for 6-piece classified striker. And then on my mods, I have a stamina with crit chance, and then I have a pulse with crit damage, and then a first aid self heal. I'd rather have a pulse with crit damage, crit hit damage mod on there because I'm actually on this build. I'm running with a pulse, so I can get as much crit chance as possible. So as you can see, it's 10% crit chance and 12% crit hit damage. It could be higher. Every bit of crit chance you can get on this build really helps out. And then I'm running with a support station, so I can get a better heal, and I can get it faster than my booster shot. For the next one, it's actually a hybrid build. I purely made this because I was sick and tired of running with what they say on the description and the gear set. I wanted to try out a hybrid build, and I actually was surprised at how well it actually it plays out. So it's the same chest piece. It's rolled for stam, exotic damage, resilience, ammo, and health. And then on here I have electronics with skill haste and stamina with skill haste. This build is actually stacked in skill haste to get my skills as fast as possible. On my mask, it's rolled for skill power and electronics. And then I have firearms with skill haste. On my knee pads, it's rolled for firearms, health, and firearms skill haste with first aid self heal. On my holster, it's rolled for crit chance. This one should actually have skill haste on it, so that I get my skills back faster, because the pulse actually plays out pretty well for this build. So I'd rather have, instead of that crit chance, I would actually rather have the skill haste, but I don't have it. I don't have I didn't roll it on there, obviously. And then I have a first aid self heal on there. And then on my gloves, I'm also using an AR, because the damage is just insane. I just get crit after crit after crit. And then on my backpack, it's for health, for it with electronics, bleed resistance. I'd rather have ammo capacity, and then it's electronic skill haste with the first aid self heals. So going into the skills, my pulse is at 20%, and then I'm running with a booster shot. So let's say I hit myself with a nade. The heal is decent. It's not something that just heals you to full health. This isn't 1.6, this isn't 1.7, but it's gonna get you a little over a segment. It's gonna get you about a segment and a half. So it's pretty decent. And then you have your pulse also. So starting off with my AR, I have only 19% crit chance, but then I have my 20% pulse, and next thing you know, I have 40% crit chance with my AR. So I'm hitting a lot of crits with this, and then of course with your striker, you're stacking damage like crazy. So this build is actually fun to use. I was using this with Kater and the rest of the group. It's funny. It's fun to run with. It's an alternative. It's not the same as everybody else. So it's almost 6,000 firearms, only 425 toughness, because I needed to put more into the skill power. So if you're nimble and you're quick and you have pretty good movement, then this build will be pretty fun to play with. My latest toy that I'm actually playing with, which I'm enjoying a lot, is this 9,000 firearms striker build. So you're looking at my toughness, you're looking at my skill power, like how are you even surviving? This build hits hard. Okay, I was testing it out. I had an idea. I was like, you know what, let me just try it. When I tried it by myself, I was hitting 54 to almost 60k crits, and then we put Kater's pulse on, and I was hitting like for 71k. So this build hits. It's ridiculous how when you have 100 stacks, how hard this build actually hits. As far as the chest piece, exotic damage, resilience, rolled for health, ammo capacity, and I have I would actually rather have firearms with crit chance mods on here. This is a crit build. You get as much crit chance as you can, but I don't have all the crit chance mods, so I'm rolling with firearms and skill haste. On my mask, it's with crit chance, roll for firearms, firearms with crit chance mod, and the knee pads is roll for health, roll for firearms, with the firearms crit chance mod, and then a first aid self heal. On my holster, it's roll for crit chance and a first aid self heal on here, and then I'm mostly running with my AR, because like I said, I'm an AR player, so the crits that you're getting with this, if you're running with the healer, or you can even do well yourself, because you have the crit on your build already. And then on my bag, I have health with disrupt resistance. I'd rather have ammo capacity, but the disrupt of course helps out when you're fighting against those who want to try to counter you. And then I have a firearms with crit chance mod with first aid self heals. So you're looking at this build like you're pretty squishy. You're gonna get melted instantly. Yes, you can get melted instantly. That's why for this build, I would recommend this to players who've been playing the game for a while, who are used to 1.6, used to 1.7. If you can handle being squishy, then you'll be okay. I actually use this build to farm when I'm doing legendaries and I'm hitting like almost 300k on NPCs. You shred NPCs so fast with this build. It's absolutely ridiculous. This build is I'm loving this build right now because of how hard you hit and how fast you can melt somebody. But I would suggest if you're gonna run with this solo, just make sure you're you're nimble and you know how to strafe and your movement is great and you have situational awareness, I would actually suggest you run this in the group, because right now, I mean, I ran solo with it and I've done pretty well, but I mean, the survivability is pretty tough. But when you're running with a group, when you're running with, you don't even have to run with a healer. When you're running with a group, they're not actually, they try to focus you, and you know, I mean, obviously they're gonna have success if they keep focusing you, but you're hitting so hard, so fast, they don't even see what's coming. So if you earhole somebody, you're doing 40 to 50 crits on their head, and they're just done instantly. And you can help wipe a group just so fast with this build. So don't sleep on this build. So if you see somebody hitting it crazy hard in the DZ with their striker, and it feels like Banshee, then this is what it is. With that being said, the actual talents that I'm running now, I took off precision because I found out it doesn't stack with your pulse. So I'm actually using on the move and adrenaline to counter, you know, the fire turrets, the shock turrets, because right now it's a damn phenomenon with all the shock turrets, especially Predmark shock turret users. It's absolutely ridiculous. So when you, of course, having the on the move and then having 100 stacks, all of a sudden, you know, you get the what is it, 20% damage or 15% damage resilience, and then your 15% damage resilience with your booster shot. All of a sudden, you have 30% damage resilience, and your toughness is almost at like 500k. So it's a pretty decent build, you guys. Just before you knock and say, oh, it's way too squishy, give it a try. Run with a healer, run with a group, and you'll definitely land your shots, and you'll definitely reap the benefit. And the whole thing about Striker being OP and it's cheese, it's not. The gear set is totally dependent on the player. If you're landing shots, you're gonna be rewarded. If you're missing shots, it's doing nothing for you. It's totally dependent on the player. So if somebody is doing really well with Striker, that actually means they're a pretty good player. Okay? With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the build. Like, comment, subscribe. I have, with this week, with the GEs coming out, I am definitely looking forward to Tactician and Alpha Bridge, so I will have builds on those. I will have build videos on those. So, I hope you guys enjoy. Have a great one, man. Thank you.
He's back, he just hasn't said anything.
Asian motherfuckers, really? I think there's like 2 different groups of banners. There's other most likely. Yeah, no, oh shit, they're all here. Dude, he's just strafing his ass off. They're all cut.
Yeah, sleep.
Hey, be careful.
Go to the indicated location and that ought to
I don't have a depot back yet. Everyone heal on me?
In here, hold. Boom, good look.
Told you he's nomad reliant, man. I'm going back to reclaimer. Third base.
You're okay.
The closer you got to me, the faster I try to leave. Like a mirage, like a mirage. The scars that you don't like me, on my arms I appear empty. Like a mirage, like a mirage.
That guy's.
That was the one saying they left on us.
The closer you got to me, the faster I try to leave. Like a mirage, like a mirage. The scars that you don't like me, on my arms I appear empty. Like a mirage, like a mirage.
You have one. Yo, are you serious? Whose man's?
I went to the restroom.
Do you have Ebola?